Today we will be going over 4 flexibility assessments. Before beginning each assessment, perform a short warm-up of about 5 minutes long during things of moderate aerobic activity. We will begin with the Canadian trunk forward flexion test. This tests the flexibility of the hamstrings and lower back. Remove your shoes so the soles of the feet can be flat against the flexometer. Place one hand on top of the other in order to prevent leading with one hand. Reach forward as far as possible while exhaling and holding the final position for 2 seconds. Make sure you do not bend your knees at any time during the assessment. This test must be taken twice, and it is scored using centimeters. The best of the 2 attempts will be taken as a final score. When comparing the final score, make sure to subtract 3 centimeters from each value in the table to find the appropriate category. My final score was 40 centimeters, and my classification was excellent. Classification for each assessment is dependent on age and sex. Next is the YMCA sit and reach test. This assessment also tests the flexibility in the hamstrings and in the lower back. Remove your shoes, sit and place a yardstick between the extended legs. Place a 15-inch tape at the 15-inch mark on the ruler. The heel of the feet should be placed at the edge of the tape line about 10 to 12 inches apart. Reach forward as far as possible while exhaling. Hold the final position to 2 seconds, keeping the fingers on the yardstick. Perform the assessment twice, and the best of the 2 scores will be taken as a final score. When performing the assessment, make sure the knees are straight. Also, place one hand in front of the other to reduce tendency of leading with one hand. This assessment is scored in inches. My final score was 21 inches, and my classification was above average. This places me in the 70 percentile. The next assessment is the chair sit and reach test. This test is usually done within older populations due to functional limitations. This also measures the flexibility in the hamstrings and lower back. Use a chair that is 17 inches in height and a ruler. There is no need to remove your shoes during this assessment. Place the chair against the wall and sit at the edge of the chair. Extend the testing leg with the ankle dorsiflexed, keeping the other leg flat on the floor. Place one hand in front of the other while exhaling. Slowly bend forward, reaching down the extended leg as far as possible. While reaching down, keep the head in normal alignment and hold the final position for 2 seconds. Have an assistant hold the ruler. The ruler should be placed parallel to the big toe at the extended leg. This test is also scored in inches. The space between the big toe and the fingertips is negative. Fingertips passing the big toe is scored positive, while touching the toes is scored as 0. Repeat the test twice. The best of the 2 scores will be taken as a final score. The last test is the Thomas test. Like the past assessments, this test is also performed twice. The assessment tests flexibility in the hip flexors. Lie on the floor in a supine position. Bring the leg that is not being tested towards your chest. If the leg being tested maintains contact with the floor during the motion, then the hip flexors of that leg are considered flexible. But if the leg rises, the hip flexors are considered inflexible. Perform the test on each leg twice and keep the best score out of the 2 attempts. This test is scored as flexible or inflexible. For this test, I scored as flexible.